Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm here to share with you some things about AeroClay, which is an entirely new technology, materials technology that's made of clay, a polymer, and water. AeroClay uses a green manufacturing process that basically takes the polymer and the clay, mixes it with water, and then that gel is frozen. The frozen gel is then freeze-dried, in which there's a sublimation process, and the ice is sublimed out, and then the things that are left are the air pockets where the ice used to be, the clay, and the polymer, and that's what gives it its foam-like structure. AeroClay is a technology platform, and as such, most of the products that are spun out of that come in the form of open-cell foam-like materials. It's the only process we know of in which there's a green process, and that all of these properties that you see on the screen are actually in one material. The problem as I see it is that the earth is going to hell in a handbasket. And it's all because of pollution. It's been said that the only thing left at the end of the world will be cockroaches and styrofoam. Now, I don't know what to do about cockroaches, but I do know what to do about styrofoam. AeroClay, as I said, is a technology platform, and as such, it spins off numerous products, all of which can do great things for our planet. Just as a simple example, I want to take the example of an oil spill. In that case, AeroClay sponge-like materials are just tossed off a boat into the water. There they collect up to 50 times their weight in oil. It's then scooped back up, put on the boat, wrung out. The oil is saved and reused. And then the AeroClay itself, those sponges are thrown back out onto the ocean, where they're good for another 20 cycles or so before beginning to lose any of their efficiency. While we have a number of markets for AeroClay, those that are addressed today are just a small subset of those, and the numbers that you see on the screen are merely the foam aspects of these much, much larger markets. Our job is to commercialize the AeroClay technology and to explore uses for it. And to do that, in our business model, we're pursuing direct sales of premium products at premium prices to directly to customers. We're also exploring and, in fact, licensing commodity-level opportunities to large companies under licensing agreements. The technology was developed at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, and it's licensed to our company, AeroClay, under an exclusive global license. Our team is comprised of internationally renowned scientists, including Dr. David Schiraldi, who is the chairman of Macromolecular Engineering and the inventor of AeroClay from Case Western Reserve University.
Gordon, we're going to have to hold off there and move on to the questions. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And with that, panelists, have a way.
I'll kick it off. I'm really interested in this idea because foam insulation products are kind of the biggest problem in the building industry, often coated with toxic chemicals. However, I'm curious, what is the polymer? You said a polymer. And does it have a toxicity profile? And then lastly, are you going or planning to license this technology to traditional insulation manufacturers that might have the ability to scale it up and bring it to market?
So I'm not a scientist, but the technical definition, I think, for a polymer is any substance that has common units. Typically, those come in the form of plastics or things of that sort. Polystyrenes, polyurethanes are all a common subject. And for example, with styrofoam, they just blow air into that. So that polystyrene, which is a carcinogen, then contains air bubbles that are closed off. And so when that disintegrates over time, then that carcinogen material is released. So that's the story on what a polymer is. In AeroClay, because it uses an environmental friendly and benign process for its manufacture, freeze drying, it can take advantage of natural fibers and natural polymers. For example, you can use spoiled milk as a protein, which is also a polymer, as the agent within it, so that everything can be fully functional, fully natural, and biodegradable, whereas when you use a biosynthetic product, that does not happen.
So Two quick questions. So one, you mentioned something's under patent. Can you describe what it is? Is it an algorithm, a process, and is there capital associated with that? And then the second question I have is that you talked a lot about different customer bases, licensing direct. Which one do you plan on pursuing in the near term, and what would be your measure of success for that first push?
Yes. Go to the first one, second one first. So the measure of success for us is getting these things into the market. Our license agreement requires that we meet various milestones, including having new products on the market every year that are spun out of this technology. And so our goal is to get new products into the market every year. The ones we would like to start with are those premium products at premium prices, because as a manufacturing base is low at this point, we need to build scale, and so it's expensive for these products to be made. There are people who have specific affinities and who are early adopters that are willing to pay for that privilege to have a new product, and so our products will be offered to that group first, sort of as an experiment, and then they are offered to much larger companies on a trial basis, and then ultimately for licensing. An example would be a material for cleaning up a shop floor sold in a small bag, whereas the fully expanded version of that would be licensed to a large company might be the AeroClay that would be used to clean up an oil spill in the ocean.
And the patent piece?
Oh yes, the patent piece, AeroClay is like a recipe for a cake. It's made up of two things. One is the materials that you use, and the other is how it's actually processed. And so you put those two things together, and those are what those patents are all about.
Gordon, thank you so much for today's presentation.
Thank you.